So this week we're discussing three stories: a white heron, a wife of his own, and a sweatshop romance. So with the white heron, I think it really, looking at the feminist perspective of it, you have this younger girl that is got basically living with her grandmother out in the country, which she came from the city. So it's kind of a different setting. She's friends with all these animals and loves these animals, and along comes this handsome hunter, basically, who's looking for this white heron. So the girl is basically kind of awestruck almost by him, and kind of walks around with him one day, and then she decides to climb the tree to find the white heron because she kind of knows where it is. And realistically, I think is what that's showing is that she climbs through the trees and then she realizes, hey, I'm about to change who I am and what I do, basically to impress this guy. I know there was some money involved and everything else, but I think it's more of just trying to impress this guy. And I think it shows how strong of a character she actually was because she decided not to give up the white heron, even though she would have gotten this money and everything else, and who knows what would have happened with the two of them. But I think it shows how strong of a character she was by actually denying and not giving up this white heron. It shows how strong of a character she actually was. A wife of his own, I think the biggest takeaway from that is realistically the kind of race relations almost that were going on there. So, it's this club where, originally it was just these, full-blooded African-American people, and then it slowly but surely turned into a mixed race club of, and going in on the lighter side of mixed race. And I think one of the lines that really stood out to me was, they said that they were this in-between class, that they weren't black and they weren't white, and that the easy route would be to stay with the blacks or the African Americans, but they would rather go more towards the whites because obviously during that time, whites were, they were considered better or whatever you want to say at that time. So they wanted to have that good standing, and with the balls that they were throwing and everything else. I think also too. I think if the end of the story would have turned out differently, and the group of people at the end of his story would have said no, that he would have realistically never brought her out, and potentially not been like here's my slave wife that I had before, and actually went in a different path. And then in a sweatshop romance, I think from the feminist perspective, it shows kind of that the woman is almost subordinate to David. It shows how she wasn't getting paid as much. She was making less than half of what the males were making, and that realistically, when she does finally stand up for herself, it's because David, I believe his name was David, actually coerces her into standing up for herself and saying, no, I'm not going to go get this. Because herself, she even says that she's done stuff like that before. So I think it's really interesting.